Awesome, awesome.
Howdy. How are we doing? Good. How are we doing? Good. Yes. I love it. I love it. I'm super excited to have all you guys here. Lots of new faces, some old faces, a lot of people to learn things from, even new people. So I'm excited. You guys have a good time with Nick and Mav? Yeah. You guys learned something maybe?
Oh yeah.
Cool, cool. Austin and I are going to teach you how to master the doors. That is my introduction.
I'm just gonna tell you guys a little bit about me. I'm 28. Been working with Matt the last couple of years. We've both been selling for going on 6 years now. And me personally, I've sold anywhere from 150 to 180 on average, 1,000 every summer. And so we're super excited to kind of go over a lot of the main things that have got us to where we're at today. We personally partly own Bentonville branch and now opening Little Rock branch. So we're super excited to work with all you guys and kind of show you what that looks like. Cool. So I'm sure you probably heard a lot of this from Nick and Maverick. They went over a lot of stuff, but the mindset and this job, this opportunity, it is going to be 100% what you make of it in your headspace, right? It's going to be all mental. This is not like a physically demanding job aside from walking and talking, right? You're not lifting boxes, you're not doing anything. So this is going to be 100% mental.
Cool. Be committed to the sales work ethic is saying that you're going to be committed to the lifestyle, such as investing time, work, learning, and investing in things you normally wouldn't invest in any time into. Okay. Have you guys ever heard the analogy of like when a rocket ship or like an airplane, when do they burn the most fuel? Right. It's going to be exactly similar to this. So like most of you guys are training prior to the summer. You're realizing like a lot of these one-on-one trainings, it's a lot of repetitions, it's a lot of role playing, it's a lot of getting the scenarios down. That's because it's a lot of work just making you comfortable, uncomfortable, right? And so when the summer starts, you're going to have a good idea to hit the ground running because you're already going to know how to respond, you're going to know what to say, you're going to know how to navigate certain conversations. The learning curve then is going to be getting used to the actual work ethic. It's getting used to how to sign someone up. It's getting used to the actual job itself or just how to knock on a door. You're going to be shaking in your legs, just not knowing what's going on, right? The first 3 to 4 weeks of May, going into June, you are going to be spending the most time. You're going to be tired, but that is the time that's going to matter because the rest of the summer is going to end up gliding. So you need to be, if you feel like you're struggling with just a certain objection, if you feel like there's a part of the pitch is not going smoothly, you need to, even if you're tired, be making the choice to train, to study as much as possible, okay? That way it sets your summer up for the rest of the summer for success. Once you're burning the most fuel at the beginning, you're just gonna be gliding all the way through the rest of the summer, okay?
So going into mindset, you know, like Maverick and Nick said, when you're doing something, you take pride in yourself and what you're doing, right? And a lot of times, I know for myself when I went into this, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go sell pest control. And a lot of when you're doing something, you're like, okay, I'm selling pest control. What does that truly mean, right? And it doesn't sound like this fancy thing. And going back to what Nick and Maverick were saying when it comes to being a helper, being a giver, right? And so that is like taking pride in what you're doing and understanding like why you're doing it. And so be excited to be a part of the company and your involvement. You know, that's why all of you guys are here today, right? We're all here to, you know, just have that camaraderie and like actually love where you're at and what you're doing is a big part of everything that you do. And going into that is finding the why, right? Like, why are you guys here today? Why are you guys coming out this summer to do this, you know, really hard job that can be a lot on your mental? That's something that you're gonna really develop over the summer is in understanding like truly why are you here and why are you doing what you're doing. And if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not big enough. And you got to really dig deep into finding like, what is it you want out of life, right? And that is what's going to really let you find that why. And you need to make a promise to yourself to finish what you start. It goes back again into what Maverick and them were saying is like, when you say you're going to do something and you follow through with it, you build that confidence within yourself. The more times that you say you're going to do something and then don't do it, you become that person that just constantly says they're going to do something and then doesn't. And so this is very, very important. Want to add to this, Matt?
I think it's just super important, like, kind of like Austin said, is whatever you say you're going to do, just follow through with it. If you remotely think that you're not going to be like do something, or that you're scared of doing something, or you're nervous about committing to it, then don't go around telling everyone that you're going to do something. Just keep it to yourself, because actions are always going to speak louder than words. Work ethic. Having a consistent schedule of 8+ hours. Okay, we're going to have a little bit later of a morning. You can work out, you make breakfast, whatever you like to do in the morning, read, meditate, pray, whatever it is. We're going to have our morning meeting for an hour. After that, we do work 8 hours a day with an hour lunch break. Okay, if you can consistently do the bare minimum, then you will be at least an average rep of what the standard is. Okay, it's the average reps, or it's the reps that are a little below average where they can't even work a full 8 hours, or it's too hot, or they're walking too much, or someone told them no 10 times in a row and then they can't make it to the rest because they're down on themselves, instead of realizing, no, I just need to keep going. I need to be putting the hours in, and that's what's going to get me to the success. Okay, hours, hours, hours. If you want to be above average, who thinks they know of what it could take, and I want to know from some interns, of what it would take to be above average when it comes to hours?
Just like staying out longer, knocking longer, you know, which the more doors you hit, the more, you know, success you're going to have.
Yeah, yeah.
A shorter lunch break, a full day on Saturday instead, going past when everyone goes in for the night.
Yeah, yeah.
Period.
Being out first and coming back fast.
Exactly. Yeah, I literally put it on there because he is, in my opinion, the GOAT, Kobe Bryant, right? Mamba mentality. Anytime anyone would show up at the gym to what? Practice, he was already there. And if someone was done, what was he doing? He was still going to prove a point that he was going to work harder than you, right? Are you going to be that person? Are you going to show everyone that you're willing to put in more hours? We give you an hour lunch break. Yes, it's hot. Yes, it's good to get some AC when we all meet up for lunch. But realistically, do you need an hour to eat a turkey sandwich? No, right? I said, you know, like drink some water. I get it gets hot, and that's why we give you an hour. But some top reps take 15 minutes. Some top reps will just get in their car, turn on the AC, eat their sandwich, and then get back out there. Because they know, what did Nick say? The more people you talk to, the more...
Sales.
The more...
Sales.
Yes, right? So, shorter lunches, number one thing, okay? Then we go 5 to 9, right? As the summer goes on, the sun's gonna go down later. It doesn't get dark until 9, okay? What can you do at 9 when the sun goes down?
Keep knocking doors.
Keep knocking, right? We have a thing that's called power hour, which in reality, it's more than 1 hour. But that's 7 to 9:30, okay? Who would think, why is that power hour?
Everybody's home.
Everybody's home. People are done eating dinner. People are off work. They're on the couch watching TV. They're playing with their kids. They're not occupied with so many things. And so naturally, as the day gets later, you're going to run into more decision makers. You're going to run into more people you can talk to. So why would you cut yourself short at 8:30, 8:45, 9 o'clock, when you know there's people with the lights on? Obviously, don't knock on a door that has all the lights off. Maybe they are asleep, and you will get someone out there, right? But there's people still up. Like, people stay up till 10. People stay up till 11. Okay, it's a normal thing, and people still have bugs when it's dark. Believe it or not. Yeah. The energy you bring to your first door is the energy you need to bring to every single door all the way up until your last, okay? You get to choose how you feel. No one's conducting your emotions except for you, okay? You are the master of your emotions. And you need to fully believe that. You need to breathe it. You need to verbalize it. Because if you constantly tell yourself those affirmations, your brain's gonna do what? It's gonna naturally believe that, okay? So when I go to my first door, I just had an energy drink. I'm cracked out of my mind, right? I'm gonna go up there, what up, right? I'm gonna kill your bugs. I know you got those fire ants. Don't tell me you don't see them, right? And I'm gonna give it all my energy. But I'm also gonna go to the next door. They answer the door. I'm gonna give them the exact same energy. I go to lunch, the first door after lunch. What do? What up? Right? Same energy, constantly all throughout the day. And then when the day goes on, guess what? To separate yourself from the average rep, most people are gonna get tired around 7, 8 o'clock because they're gonna see the end coming near. Bring the energy to your very last door. There's other people not doing that. That is going to make you a great rep versus an average rep. Very end, and then on the car ride home, when you hit the pillow, then you can chill. Then you can relax. Then you can realize that you gave it your all today, whether you had a ton of sales, whether you had a few, whether you had none. You grew and you were process driven, whether you got the results you wanted. There are still some results there, kind of like what Maverick was talking about, going up and down. You don't see them, but they were there. Okay? Anything you want to add?
Oh yeah, work ethic is going to be everything. And so going into area management, I mean, this is huge. Like Matt is saying, you know, bringing that energy to every door is going to be very important. But how you go throughout your area and find the homeowners and how you talk to them is going to be also very important when it comes to maximizing who you're talking to. Talking to 50 people a day, 20 guys, you know, in the morning, you know, or 25 in the morning, 25 in the afternoon. It's going to go about how you're going about your area, and we're going to teach you guys how to do that. And so familiarize yourself with the neighborhood and who is already a customer. For guys that are going in a market like Bentonville, Oklahoma, also Missouri, you're going to have current customers, right? This is, I mean, we've been selling. So you're going to go into areas where you look on the software and you see like, oh, there's already 3-4 customers in this neighborhood, right? That's going to be very important because people like to buy when their neighbors have also bought it. And so you'll be able to see like, okay, their information, their name, their last name, what kind of program they're already on. And so you'll be able to go to the neighbors and be like, yeah, you know, your neighbor Lisa, you know, she's been with us for over a year. We're already going to be out here taking care of her. You know, we'd love to fit you in with them. And so that's going to be very, very important, is going and figuring out how many current customers you already have in that neighborhood, which won't always be the case, but using that as a tool is very important. And then cherry picking homes, only knock the doors that have signs of life, right? You make money talking to people. If you see a house that has all their lights off, there's no cars in the driveway, it's not power hour yet, it's not prime time, you know, but 2 houses down, you see a house with all the lights on, there's multiple cars there, which house are you gonna knock? The one with the cars, right? Because more than likely they're gonna have people there, right? You get paid for talking to people. So making sure you're not wasting your time just knocking on a bunch of empty houses, right? Be smart about it. Be like, hey, look, on this street, it looks like these are the main houses, people are home. I want to talk to as many people as I can, right? And you can kind of revisit that street later in the afternoon when more cars are home. And so that's super important. Personal preference on knocking no soliciting signs. I will say the top reps, a lot of times they knock those signs, right? You know how to diffuse. We teach you how to, you know, sometimes you're gonna get guys that come out and they're like, do you see the sign? And it's some sign that was at the front of the curb and it's the tiniest little sign that you've ever seen, right?
That you didn't see.
Right, that you didn't see. And they're gonna be just harping on it, and you're gonna learn skills on how to diffuse, right? You're a person that's there to help them, right? And so you're gonna, one thing is don't chirp back. Definitely do not get confrontational with people. But you're gonna learn the skill of diffusing and understanding how to do that. So sometimes even when you do see the sign, we see that as a sign as like, they know they're a buyer and they know if they talk to you, they're gonna buy, so they try to scare you off with this sign. But this is personal preference. But do as you will with that.
Let that count.
You're right. Any essential you need during the summer is going to be on the doors. If there's something you want, you need, it's behind that door. You need more money, it's on the other side of that door. You need to use the restroom, it's on the other side of that door. You're getting a little hungry, you want a snack, it's on the other side of that door, right? Taking the 20, 30 minutes to go to the gas station and definitely don't call nobody if you don't have a car and bring them off the door to then take you and now you're both off the doors, right? That's not making you money, okay? So you need something, I promise you it's behind the doors. It never hurts to ask. You know, you might have some people like, I don't have any snacks for you, buddy, but you know, the next door is. So, and so, yeah.
Real quick, I want to touch on the no soliciting. Think of how you'll feel. It'll be a little uncomfortable at first, but put yourself in the position of an average rep or a below average rep. They're going to see the sign, shaking their boots, and skip the door. Nobody's actually talking to those people, and so naturally, you might be the first person to talk to them because other people are scared to do it, which it's all in your head. Mm-hmm. That no that they give you is no different than someone else giving you a no. It's the same thing. And then if they still don't buy, boo-hoo, I got a decision maker out of the way. And I still talk to someone else that someone else wasn't willing to talk to. Okay? Knocking 101. The standard that you set for yourself, you set yourself up by success by preparing everything, charging your equipment, and keeping a routine every single day. You want to avoid ways that'll make you stall from knocking. So like Nick was talking, if you get a flat tire, right? Let's say it's, chances are, by a neighborhood, just go knock on some doors, right? A lot of times, some individuals won't have their morning routine down. Maybe they didn't shower, maybe they rolled out of bed a little bit late because they weren't on top of even setting their alarm. They're rolling into the morning meeting late, and they're getting a punishment for that, right? Set yourself up for success. Charge your iPad, charge your iPhone, like bring your price slicks, like make sure you have everything that you need. That way, oh, I'm 30 minutes away from the apartment. I just got here. Oh my gosh, I forgot my phone charger. I need to go back home and get it. No, you don't. Because chances are someone has a phone charger on the doors, right? But you want to set yourself up for success. You forget your Segway charger. Boo-hoo. Looks like you're walking for the day or walking for the afternoon, okay? Whatever it is. You forgot your lunch? Perfect. Go make a sale and then go buy lunch, okay? Have the intention of knowing that every morning on when and where you need to be, okay? It's pretty simple, the schedule that we have set out for you guys. It's not that complicated. We have an hour meeting every single day at this time, and then we knock from this time to this time, you get a lunch, and we knock from this time to this time, and then you go home, okay? You know where you need to be, you know what you need to be doing deep down. I do want to touch on the anxiety part. You only truly ever feel anxious when you're not doing what you know you should be doing. That is where anxiety comes from, okay? Knock on their door as if you're in charge and you get their attention. Oh, they weren't home. They're going to answer the door. They are in a big house like this. They're not going to hear this. Right? Pop your chest out, go out there, and just bang on the door. Get their attention. If they come mad, chances are they probably would have been mad at you anyway. Okay? It's all up in here. You want to assert yourself in this position of you're in charge. When you knock on their door and they open it, they are stepping into your office. You aren't sitting there asking them for a sale. They're stepping into your office and you're relaying a message to them. You're not selling them. If you relay the message and they're curious or they want it, great. If you relay the message and they don't want it or they're mean, sayonara, buddy. I'm not dealing with you. I'm not letting you into my mindset. I'm in control. I'm leaving you. You're not rejecting me. No one rejects me. I leave everybody. Okay? If there's a storm door, I didn't know what this was my first summer. I mean, I'm from California. They aren't a thing out there. Raise your hand if you know what a storm door is. I didn't know it was called that. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm from California. Those don't exist because no storms. But the glass door in front, they'll have a real door and then a storm door, okay? Some people will open up the door and leave that glass door shut. I am going to point at the door and have them look at me until they open the door or crack it. If they sit there and talk to me through the door, my response is, I will do whatever I can to talk to someone face to face. I'm not letting them in control of what I'm doing or what I'm saying. I'm the one in control. Okay? Be a human, not a robot. Nick's a robot. That works for him. All right? Tailor your pitch to be conversational based on who's answering the door. Okay? Raise your hand if in your trainings you've already gone over the different personality types, mirroring. Raise your hand. Okay? Okay. What are some of the personality types?
Tiger, owl, and like lamb.
Okay. What's a tiger?
Like very open. Like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
How are you?
Okay. And then what's a lamb?
It's just hi. Like, why are you here? Like,
Yep.
shy.
Yes. Yeah, standoffish. And then what's an owl?
Kind of just standoffish, like curious, but kind of skeptical.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's one more.
Lambo.
Bull.
Come on, Teddy.
Bull. What's a bull?
The person who comes out is like really aggressive, basically.
You guys a Dodge Ram?
Yeah.
Let's go! Let's go! I'm a bull. Yeah, so you want to be able, yes, we're teaching you the skeleton of this pitch. We're teaching you the things to say. You're going to end up using your personality to tailor it in a way that you want to. You're going to find a certain type of people that you mesh with as well, but you're also going to need to get comfortable being uncomfortable and mesh with the people who aren't like you, okay? Raise your hand if you consider yourself a tiger. Right, like super upbeaty, joking, outgoing, okay? Raise your hand if you consider yourself a bull. You're more serious, you're more stern. Okay? Raise your hand if you consider yourself an owl. Like you ask a lot of questions, like you want to know stuff, okay? Raise your hand if you're a lamb and you're a little standoffish from people. Okay, good.
No lambs?
Good.
Whatever.
So naturally, if you're a bull, guys who come out and answer the door like, what's up, dude? What do you want? It's going to feel pretty natural for you to respond with, nothing much. How are you? Are you the homeowner? Like, no smile. You're matching their energy. You're mirroring who they are. Okay. If you're a tiger, hey man, what's going on? Dude, I'm doing great, man. What about you? That is a crazy attack dog. It's a cat, right? And so naturally, you're gonna say little jokes. You're gonna be a little bit more witty. So you're going to connect. But you also this whole internship is about learning how to be this personable person with anybody. Okay. So if you're a tiger, you need to learn how to drop the smile and be a little bit bigger, like me, right? Just kidding. Not really. Yeah, and then create urgency to make the prospect know that this deal is only now. We are not creating leads for a week from now. These people can't just call you a week later, a month later. Can I get a card? Can I get a phone number? Sorry, I'm gonna go sell your neighbor because you can't make a decision. You leave them if they can't make a decision, or you push them until they can. If you get any hint of they want it, obviously you should be closing them. That's what we teach you. But we're not working on their time. They're on our time. Okay. And that's why we do the discount. Okay? Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah.
To include in this, I'm just curious because I know when I first started knocking, nobody really touched upon this, but like the Ring doorbell cameras, like what do you guys kind of tell your reps? Because I know a lot of times people have different strategies for that.
So there's always going to be opinions. I don't like to give someone an excuse or an out to shut me down or give me a quick no. I ignore it and I just bang on the door. If they answer through the Ring, I'll still do my intro. And if I get any slight of interest, depending on if they're at work or something like that, I'll start pitching them. And then if they'll sit there and verbalize, like, I'm interested, but I'm at work, can you come by later at 6? Yeah, my name's Matt, what's your name? I'll come back by at 6. Right, I'll set up a callback. But I try to avoid doing that because if I ring the doorbell, naturally they're gonna answer the phone, nah, I don't want it, and then they can hang up on you. It's like cold calling. It's easier to hang up the phone than it is to just shut the door in someone's face to face. Okay, so yeah.
I've always used like the analogy of fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so when you're going fishing, you're casting a line. You may not get something, but you keep casting lines. When I'm knocking on doors for Ring doorbells, I'll just throw hey, I've figured you should know I was in the neighborhood. When are you guys going to be home so I can swing back by and let you know what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And then either they're going to ask me and be curious, or they're going to be like, I'll be home at 6. Okay, I'll swing back by at 6 when you're home. Now I'm getting in front of them. They're expecting me up in an appointment. And I've even made sales over the Ring doorbell.
Yeah. Something you guys will find, most of you experienced guys already know this, the doorbell is delayed. So you can hear someone talking inside before it plays on the camera. Okay? Here's what you do.
Cutting out. Like,
You, right? I'm doing anything I can to. Hang on. Come to the door. What up, dude? Heard you the whole time.
I had a whole grandma that like.
So this is like a different perspective on it. This is something that I like started doing towards the end of my summer last year. But I figured that if somebody was gonna talk to you over the Ring doorbell, they were gonna do it anyway. So you might as well ring the doorbell and knock. If they come out upset that you did both, tell them you didn't know if the doorbell worked.
Yeah.
Real simple.
There are a lot of doorbells that don't work.
One thing I wanted to say about the doorbell and like if somebody answers and they're willing to talk with you, if especially like if they're warm, I'm gonna call them, like on my phone. So like the Ring doorbell is just
Yeah.
like freaking cutting out or it's super delayed and you're like, what was that? Like no. I'm like, give me your phone number really quick, I'm gonna shoot you a call.
Yeah,
and then
so-
you shoot them a
yes.
call. And that would be only if it's like a good enough reason to not just go back later and speak with them in person because they're super hot wanting to sign up, just call them.
And literally sometimes like it looks like they're home, they'll answer on the Ring doorbell and be like, oh, I'm interested but I'm not home. And now you gotta leave.
Yeah.
Lay down central.
Yeah.
If you get an appointment through a Ring doorbell, oh my God. Like, you're selling them and they're going to call their mom or their dad, hey, this guy showed up, you guys need this too. And you're getting 2, 3, 4 sales out of it.
Any experienced rep here, raise your hand if you've gotten multiple sales through Ring doorbell cameras. It's possible. Okay.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Anytime I see a
Cool.
camera, I'm like,
Yeah. I'm spamming doorbell, I'm spamming knocking because half the time the doorbells don't work, right? A lot of time, how many times have you guys ordered an Amazon package and they drop it off, they'll probably knock and kind of walk off, right? How many homeowners, you don't know if they've ordered a package, right? So I'm knocking twice, I'm ringing the doorbell, like I'm doing like 3 different versions to try to get their attention, right? I'll knock once, they don't come, I'll knock again because I'm like, they could think I'm some delivery man. They could think, you know, maybe that DoorDash on the way, right? You know, and then if that don't work, then I'm also ringing the doorbell and seeing if that works. And so you get paid for talking to people, right? How do I get their attention? How do I get them to the door? And so how to have success, right? You need to be consistent in everything you do on and off the doors. And I will commend Isabel and Matt for this because last summer they did this to a T, right? They woke up every day at the same time. They ate the same meal at the same time every day. And it showed, right? When you are in that just schedule of like doing the same thing all the time, you can just maximize every part of your life, right? There isn't all this decision fatigue of like, oh, I forgot this, I forgot to do this, right? Do the same thing, get in the habit of every day when you get home, the first thing you do when you get in the door is you plug your Segway in, right? Like it's just autopilot. Because by the time you do it so many times, you know, it just becomes habit. And so it's inevitable that motivation fades away. The key is discipline, you know, steps in when motivation fades. So for some of you guys, I want to hear from you. What do you think is discipline? Mike?
Doing it when you don't want to.
For sure, absolutely. Anyone else?
Kind of like what Mike Tyson said. It's like discipline is doing something you hate, but you do it like you love it.
Yeah.
So obviously we're not gonna hate our job. Like we're here to do the job, but it's
Yeah,
like that.
but the reality is there's going to be days where the weather, it's hot, it's cold, you know, you're talking to however many people, it can get repetitive, right? And so when you're doing something, when you may not have that motivation as much, what is something that keeps you doing something that you may not like in the moment? I want to hear some examples.
Thinking about people at home that like kind of put you in a position to be successful. That maybe parents, friends, people you care about, the people that care about you.
Okay, yeah, Hamp.
Change your frame. Instead of I have to do this, I get to do this. It's a privilege to be able to go do some of the stuff that we can.
Absolutely, being grateful, yeah.
I think about like the goals that you wrote down before you showed up. Everybody's done probably a goals call at some point, and that was always something I would look back on and be like, if I want to be on track for this, like to
Yeah,
3 months
reminding,
goes by
quick.
so fast.
Reminding yourself of your goals. That's huge. That's wrong. Yours, okay?
I have three. One, like creating vision boards so you see it and you're waking up every day and you can't not look at it. So
Yeah.
it's there in front of you. The second is like for me, everything that goes hand in hand with discipline also goes hand in hand with the lifestyle of like a Christian and a disciple of Jesus. So it's like wanting to live in that way. Then that also comes down. Now it's not about you. It's also about like the faith and that too. So bigger than me, but also accountability partner with Liz.
Love that.
Because having somebody who's also there to hold you, so when you're low or when you think like, oh, I can slack up, they're there to like set you straight.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I will say this summer, like, all of you guys have a support system, right? There's gonna be days, someone yells at you and you're just in your head about something. You have me, you have Matt, you have Isabel, you have all of your leaders, your managers, even your other interns. Like, we're all there. Like, give someone a call, right? We're all there to support you and bring you back down, right? Remind yourself of why you're out there, your goals, and it really is gonna come down. And we'll touch on this a lot more later, but it's your why, right? You really bring yourself back down to like, why am I here? And remind yourself, and that puts you back on track when you are starting to feel that way. So that way you can continue hitting those goals and doing what you're out there to do. And so it's easy to have success when you're winning. When you get a sale out there, you're gonna feel it, especially your first sale. You're gonna be on the moon, right? You're gonna feel great. And so when you feel great, it's easy to go out there and be happy and motivated. You're making money, you're making sales, right? But that may not always be the case. Sometimes there might be a stretch of 10 doors of people that just weren't home. Like, they literally can't answer. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. You need to learn how to win even when things aren't going your way. And that comes back to the frame, is like understanding how to turn everything into a win. And a thing I love to talk about all the time is controlling the controllables. And a big part of this is knowing what's in your control and separating what's not in your control, okay? And maximizing your inputs on what is within your control. So, for example, a thing that's in my control is how many doors I knock today. That is solely up to me. How fast I move my feet, how my urgency between doors. Give me some examples that y'all might have of something that is just completely not in your control, maybe on the doors.
Their response and what they say to you. You can't control how they're going to feel about you or overthinking that.
Yeah.
And so it's about what you can do in that moment of uncertainty and anything that you cannot answer, especially if it's another person. You have no idea about that other person, so you can't focus on that.
Yeah.
What you can do.
Yeah, but what you control is how you respond,
Yes.
right? And so that's a good one. Anyone else?
If they answer or not.
That's a big one. You cannot force them to open the door.
The weather.
The weather, yeah. Being part of being prepared is understanding, like, when you come out for the summer, you're gonna bring warm clothes, cold clothes. Like, you want to be prepared for all types of weather. You can't control that.
Whether somebody's having a good day or bad day, you don't know that knocking.
Yeah.
It's just how you respond to them, whether it's gonna make the day better or worse.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, like, a big one is like sometimes it's an uncontrollable that a different rep was there the day before you, but it's just like flipping your mind over. Like, this other rep was here, but he actually just got all these people thinking about their bugs for the past 24 hours. So now they're all me. Like, I'm gonna come clean up everything he missed.
I'm gonna close
'Cause
them
they've
down.
been thinking about those ants.
Yeah. And so controlling what you can do. My favorite example is, you can't force them to answer the door, right? So instead of getting in your head and saying, hey, no one's answering, everyone out here hates me, whatever, right? It's not true. It's something you're selling yourself, right? And you're putting yourself in a mood that you don't even need to be in. And it's realizing that, like, hey, that's not my control. They may be at work. I can't force them to answer the door, but what I can do is I can get to the next door. I can keep my feet moving. And when you focus on those things and you separate them, you're going to maximize that output. And you're not going to let the things that are not in your control control you, right? You're going to feel this at some point this summer. where you're in your head like, today it's hot, I'm sweating, no one's answering the door, and you're gonna start to hear all these thoughts in your head. And it's gonna be so important that you realize that that is not in my control. What can I do? And you will have such much better of an experience this summer.
Can I say one thing on that?
Yeah.
I sometimes like relate that back to, I'm also religious, but like when I have those thoughts, I'm like, that's the devil, like trying to get into me.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately I like catch it. I'm like, not today. Like, and you flip that frame, you know, like, so that's just a concept that I have.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I want to share an experience. It's me being a little vulnerable, but it's fine. It was a couple years ago. I was having a really tough day, didn't have a sale. I saw some other leaders getting sales. I'm like, I know I can get sales. What's going on here? It's kind of weird. Maverick shows up. I'm like, hey, dude, how you doing? I'm doing all right. He goes, are you? I go, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Right? I'm not doing all right. I'm like, people are telling me no. People are telling me I look funny. You know, all these things in my head that I'm creating, right? But he said, dude, close your eyes. So I close my eyes. I breathe in the fresh air. I hear the birds. I feel the wind. I feel a little bit of the sun. It's like 6 o'clock, sun's going down, cool breeze. And I start tearing up a little bit because I'm like, why am I so stressed over something in my head? It feels good out. God is good. And I'm grateful that I'm riding around on a Segway. I'm actually having kind of fun. I don't have to walk in the sun. But I get to just talk to people, right? But I got to like focus on just taking a second, being in the present, realizing like I'm alive, and like people telling me no is not a big deal, right? Shortly after that, I got a sale, right? Funny how that follows, right? The energy you carry around to each door, it matters, okay?
Yeah, and so, wait, go back. A big part of this is studying all the material. You guys have the sales manual. If you guys haven't already, spend X amount of time per day reading X amount of pages. You want to go through all of that. All of that touches on everything we've talked about today, and that is going to be like your sales Bible, right? If you have read through that whole thing before the summer, you are already light years ahead. As for one-on-one training, right? Me, Matt, and so many leaders here have literally calendars that have spaces open just for you guys. Like, you want extra training, you want to just hop on a call and talk about something, like, it doesn't matter what it is. We have those slots available for you guys, so that way we can pour into you guys. We can answer any question, and we can talk about anything that you guys need.
What I will say is the standard for your leaders around you too, there's a reason why we live in the same apartment complex as you guys. There's a reason why we sell beside you guys, and we're not just sitting back and just pointing, saying, go and do this, right? Like, we do it as well. We are at your access 24/7. If you guys are a morning person and you want to meet up before the meeting to vent, talk about something going on at home, talk about just training on the doors or just venting about the doors or some experiences, just say, hey, can I meet up an hour before the meeting? Yeah. I mean, I can't even, after all these years, almost every single day of every single summer, everyone gets home at 9:30, 10 o'clock. I am up until about midnight or 1 a.m. talking with a few people or just one person, and we're training. Someone's venting to me because they just want to talk about their day. But it is not an unusual thing. We are up all night, every night, just sitting there making sure that you guys can go out the next day and get it down. Because the truth is that every single day, everybody starts at zero. You get the chance to reset your day the very next day and then pick it back up to where you guys left off.
Yeah.
The things you guys learn during this summer are going to translate how you guys will do everything in life. If you guys are wanting to be a husband, a wife, a mother, father, you guys want to eventually, be a leader in your family. You guys want to have certain pillars. You guys want to have certain values. One summer is going to be a year's worth of experience, and you just get it in 3 months. You just can't do that anywhere else, right? Some summer internships, programs, you sit there and you shadow someone else do something. That's like saying I'm going to go and turn on YouTube and just watch someone do something and learn from it. You get some experience, you get some information, but how do you get better at a skill?
Repetition.
The repetitions of doing things over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? So leading up to the summer, it is a bunch of role playing, it is a bunch of teaching, but we give you guys the chance and ability to go out and get the real world experience, learn how to deal with rejection, learn how to actually make a sale, even upsell, and actually have conversation with like mature adults, right? A lot of it you're going to take into your real life. A lot of the values, okay? Whether you want to use this as a stepping stone or, like Maverick said, you do want to build something for you want to make a name for yourself here. It's fully possible for every single individual in this room, okay? Is that everything?
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Let's go
We're gonna open up the floor for you guys to ask questions.
Yeah.
How long should we wait in between doors for an answer before we move on to the next?
So you will knock on the door. You'll wait and see if you hear anything for the most part, like 20 seconds. You'll knock again. Make sure, again, you're knocking with purpose. You're knocking with intention. You're not just baby knocks, okay? Because I can guarantee you there are some individuals that will go and knock on the door and it's a baby knock and they're like, oh, they're not home, okay? So 10, 20 to 30 seconds, knock again, max, maybe like a minute and a half. If you don't hear anything, just dip. If you hear footsteps, if you hear TV on, if you hear a vacuum, ring the doorbell and bang on the door like 3 times for like 2 minutes until they hear you, okay? Like if you hear them home, don't set yourself up for failure. Like get them to the door so at least if it's a no, you can mark them off and then go to your next door.
So like when you're talking to somebody, like how do you like, you know, like not get stuck in an hour-long conversation and just them bullshit you basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go.
There's a few ways. You'll start to recognize, we'll teach you how to qualify and stay on what we call the sales line, right? You know, and so when you notice that we're here to talk about pest control, how it can benefit them, the price, what we do, why we do it, right? But when they start talking about their
Life story.
whatever, their life story, you know, it's different when you're in the beginning of the pitch and you're just kind of building rapport. Maybe you're talking about their car out front. Maybe you're talking about a sports flag that you saw. But if you're in the middle of the pitch or even towards the end of the pitch and they're just, you know, they're just rambling about something, you have to recognize that and come up with ways of like, how do I bring them back? You know, we'll teach you guys how to do that. But like if it's something where you know they're not going to buy, they're unqualified, I mean, it's just straight up telling them like, hey, I enjoyed talking with you, but I got to get back out here. I actually have another appointment to get to, right? And that appointment is just your next door.
And it may feel rude, but it's not. Sometimes I'll even pull up my phone. Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. I have to go. My manager just saw that I was standing here for 20 minutes. I got to get going. It was nice talking to you. Right?
Lucas?
There's any excuse.
Yeah, could you guys give some examples of when, like, you are gonna like pull the trigger on leaving? That's one thing I always talk about. Is like, we're in control of if I stay here for another 10 minutes and ask them some more questions and qualify them, or if I'm like, okay, Miss Grandma, I know you like my hair, I gotta go.
Yeah. I mean, it honestly is just straight up telling them that. But a lot of times my easiest out is I just like, oh shit, I forgot I have a whole another appointment. This person asked me to come back. I got to head out. I mean, did you want me to come back? Is this something you could actually see yourself getting? And they'll tell straight up, yes or no, right? And, you know, go on to your appointment.
Oh yeah, because I struggle with that too. Because like I've had sales where like I'll literally waste so much time, but I'll still get the sale. I'm like, spent 50 minutes here, but not the sale.
Yeah.
But it's like, because like there's one part of my brain. It's like I can get this person to buy if I put in enough time, but like obviously it's not gonna pan out. Like when is like a good indication? Like all right, it's time to wrap it up. You're kind of just
If they start telling you their life story at the very beginning and you haven't even gotten to the price yet,
Yeah.
like keep the straight line method, get to the price, get to the service. It's okay to have a conversation once you've actually solidified the sale, their card's on file, you got them scheduled, and then you banter a little bit, right? Like that's totally fine. But if there's a bunch of banter before you even explain anything, that's when it is going to be a high percentage of like a waste of
I
time.
also have a problem too. Sometimes, like, once I get comfortable in the sale, like, I try to like be more personal. Like,
Not until
the
they're
sale
signed up.
take- Yeah. the
Not
sale
until
takes,
you have
like,
everything
The sale
done.
itself just takes long sometimes, if that makes sense. So I don't want to be pushy. Like, hey, I need to get this information so I can go.
Did you guys mention the straight line method already, or?
No.
So, the straight line method, when you given the intro and they start going on about something, you need to get back to the price. Because I will sit and talk, right? We want to connect with people, but I can't do that unless I've gotten through at least the price. I know that I've gotten a buy-in question, and then what I would do is I'm gonna lead them back to the straight line, right? I'm then gonna get everything figured out. We're getting them signed up, scheduled, and everything, and then I'm gonna be like, hey, I would like you to tell me more about X, Y, and Z
Yeah. Because
to connect with them.
Because I don't want to like jeopardize like the helper persona by trying to like, you know what I mean?
No, and then it's also reading body language. So they're talking about something, but like that topic has kind of closed out. You need to know that that is your moment to be like, let me tell you actually what we're doing for everybody, right? And you're circling back to where you need to go. And you're the whole time while you're listening, you're engaged, but you're looking for your moment to get back to the line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You had a question?
Yeah, so I was wondering, when you're trying to get someone's attention and you're like knocking or ringing doorbells, what do you do to diffuse the situation if they're mad you did both, or if you're mad you knocked hard, or anything like that?
Chances are, it's like I said before, if they come to the door mad that you knocked hard, they would have been mad anyway. They probably have something going on in their life, and you are just the first person that happened to show up. And naturally, as humans, we don't really react the best to things, right? And that's what we teach you guys to be the 1%. Control your emotions. 99% of the population can't do that. And so they lash out at other people. They lash out at people that they love, okay? And some people just lash out at people they don't even know because they just have poor character.
I've had one person in 3 years tell me I knocked hard. I'm like,
Never
even
been a
if you
thing.
knock hard, it's in the whole house, so it's getting like vibrated to like a tiny sound.
I've never gotten it once.
Do we ever come back to the houses that don't answer?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, a part of area management, you guys are going to spend anywhere from 2, 3, sometimes even 4 days in your neighborhood. The goal is to try and talk to every single person so that way you've gotten every house a no. And the ones that aren't no's, you've gotten them to say yes. But naturally, people are going to be on vacation. You just can't get people home at the right time because they work all day long. You're going to talk to probably, I'd say, about 80 to 85% of your neighborhood before you then move on to another one, okay? You're going to knock on a person's door, I'd say anywhere from 3 to 4 different times. So let's say day 1, 12 to 4, the first shift, you start at an end of a neighborhood. That first door you knocked on at what? 12 p.m. You S through the neighborhood, you finish over here, you go to lunch at 4. After lunch at 5 o'clock, you go back to where you started because maybe they're home from work. So that door you knocked at 12 and 5. And then you S through the neighborhood, you finish off the day there, okay? The next day you go back, there's a bunch of people you still didn't talk to. You don't have to talk to all the people that you did talk to, which is nice because you can spend time getting into the other doors. You start at the other side. So that way, the other side where you ended at 4 and 9, you start that day at 12 and 5. And then the other people who didn't answer, you're talking to at 4 and 9. That way, maybe they got home later from work, you just didn't get them at the right time. Can I answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a question, but like I'll ask it like because I kind of already know, but like for the interns, I guess specifically, but how to work an area around your cells or cells that already made it in the neighborhood, like with stars, and like how do you attack stars that you already have in a neighborhood? Like, you know, I already know, but like I want you to explain.
Are you saying like how to bandwagon?
Yeah, like how would you attack? You're hitting the stars right away, right? And you want to knock all the surrounding houses.
Yeah, if you have a customer in the neighborhood, it's very likely that the neighbors have seen that neighbor get their service done. They've seen the Lotus trucks, right? And so it just builds credibility, right? And you want to focus on those neighbors that are closest to that current customer. And you know, now you have a name drop, right? Because most people that live in neighbors, not all of them, like they'll at least know of that person. They've seen them. You can point at their house or their car. And what this does is it builds credibility, and you want to focus on those people. So let's say there's a customer, right? I'm going to go to the house directly across. It's more likely they've seen the house across from them get the service. And I'm going to say, hey, like, do you know Lisa over here? she's got the 2 kids, the blue truck right there. Immediately, they now see me as like someone that is part of the neighborhood, that actually knows someone that they may know. Even if they don't know their name, like they've seen them before, right? Now it validates like why I'm there, and it makes it even easier to just kind of get into the information of like why you're there. Like, hey, we do this for her, you know, this is the price, and it just brings their walls down and makes it sometimes a lot easier to make a sale, right? Because if one person's doing it, you know, and they were having problems, they probably also have those same problems. Maverick?
I want to add on to that. So where he mentions when you name drop, how it makes you more like part of the neighborhood. One of the biggest ways that people are influenced is through it's social pressure. And the reason I say that, or social proof. Similar to when you'll see an Instagram reel and you're like, was that important? And then you go to their Instagram page and you're like, oh, they have 100,000 followers, I believe that. Right? They have a bunch of followers, so now all of a sudden what they say is actually important. Logically, it's not. Right? Logically, they have an opinion, they happen to have a lot of followers, and the opinion could actually be bad. You're more sold on the opinion because they have a ton of followers. So psychologically, that's just what you're doing when you're name dropping.
Yeah.
Is you're pre-selling using social proof of the neighborhood, right? These are the people that are using me. It automatically adds more credibility.
Mm-hmm. If they actually know the person, like if they genuinely do know that person, that maybe their kids play with each other or anything, it's just like he said, like if you say, hey, I take care of them and 15 others, subconsciously they're already gonna be like, why do they have it and I don't? Right? They may not say that. And so it's just the bandwagon, the FOMO, and it helps a lot when you're making sales.
So how do you deal with like a language barrier? Like, do you bother pulling up Google Translate, or do you just
you just learn the other language and not.
So yeah, so
Yes.
So the biggest, you're going to run into Hispanics, you're going to run into some people who speak Chinese, Japanese, even some Indians who only speak their language. You can use the price slick to your advantage, okay? Sometimes I'll just show them it's pest control, and then I'll show them the bugs, like, right? I know my intro in Spanish. She knows her intro in Spanish, so we can at least get that across. And like I'll get them like, are you yes or no? If they say yes, I just hand them my phone. I have them fill out their information and I just go from there. But I can tell them the price and everything and get it across. So there's multiple things you can try and do to just get your point across, and at least get a yes or a no.
Should we all learn our pitch in Spanish?
You don't need to know the whole thing.
I
You
just
need
know
to
my intro in Spanish.
Bugs in Spanish.
And you don't need to. Again, use the price slick. Like they'll know what bugs are.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can name 3 bugs and say muy barato, like very cheap, and then they're gonna be like, tell me more. You circle the price, and then they'll be like, sign me up.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll qualify them quick. If they're like, yes, and they're like pointing at a bug, you're probably gonna pull out Google Translate, right? You're gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna figure out how to solve their problem. But and most of the time, they'll probably just be like, and you're just kind of qualifying, getting to the next door. Yeah. Or if you got a buddy, call them.
Yo. Yeah.
Whenever we first get into a neighborhood, and like, let's say it's our first time there, so we don't have anybody like that's already with us in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Do we just like skip that part of the intro, or like?
So here's what you'll do. Guaranteed there's going to be a star in a certain amount of mile radius or anything. I choose the closest green star. I click on it, and I'm like, oh, Sharom is a mile away. I'm not going to sit there and point at a house. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to have them follow me, and I'm just going to point down the street. I'm taking care of Sharom down the road, which I'm not lying. I am. He's probably just a couple, like way down the road. But like, I'm taking care of Sharom down the road, right? Yep. And 8 other neighbors in the area. Not the neighborhood, but 8 other neighbors in the area.
The best choice, because you want to show social proof, but you also want to act with integrity. Like the best integrity, you know what I'm saying? Like hold the integrity that you want to feel like you're being truthful. So if it's like people kind of hard to say, I take care of so-and-so in the area, right? Instead of being like right next to you, because I'm like, that's just a flat out lie. But
Yeah. And the whole entire point of like the bandwagon is to just show that you belong there. So even if you don't have like current customers in there, just showing them that you know their neighborhood and you actually belong. So it's like you can name drop like street names. So like yeah, I was just coming from XYZ Street. I was talking to a lot of these guys that were getting this and this. So there's a lot of different ways that you can like show that you belong there in the neighborhood without like name dropping, especially if you don't have a customer.
and another point, they don't have to be a customer for you to name drop them.
Yeah.
Right? Like you use casual like name drops of like get people's names and be like, yeah, I was just talking to Sherry, right, about her bucks. It doesn't mean that Sherry bought, but it's like you had a conversation with Sherry, you called her by her first name, you actually know her, you know people in the neighborhood.
And also, sorry, my bad. And also with that too, you don't want to like fake name drop. Like that's gonna do a lot more like hurt to you. Because like the entire point is like building credibility. You'll get people they're like, no, I know everybody in this neighborhood. And yeah, I think you have to.
Yeah, can I say something just based on personal experience? So my rookie year, don't do this, but so I was knocking in the neighborhood, and I talked to some guy outside, got his name and everything, tried to close him, but he was using a company and he just didn't want to switch over. So I go to his neighbor and I'm like, hey, I was just talking to Randy, he was using Arrow. Who are you guys using? He's like, oh, I'm using Arrow too. So obviously, I told him that I was working with Randy at that point, so and I did the whole switchover pitch, and the guy was totally bought because he was still seeing stuff in the yard. So I actually get inside into his office. He's looking at his like old receipt, so I can use that as a coupon. So he's going through his files, and I'm like literally sitting there just building a rapport with the guy. And the next thing you know, he's like pulling out a plot map of the neighborhood with the different plot numbers and like the people's names listed to it. He's like, so this is Randy here, right, at this address? So at that point I was so far into the sale, I just kind of said yes. He called the guy on the phone, the guy answered, I'm in the study, so I just, you don't want to get into that
One thing I want to say.
Bye, guys.
Hey, one thing I want to say is it's super important that you're certain in what you're saying. So you have to make it make sense for yourself, whatever you're going to say. So, for example, I get into a neighborhood, Little Rock, right? Let's say we have no sales in the surrounding areas. The first person to drop a sale, okay, like I'm in my neighborhood, we've got everybody in all these neighborhoods. I could care less if it's like 3 miles or even 8 miles down the road. How our route works is we've got one route, right? Let's say we'll have more than that, but let's say we have one route. All of us are scheduling on that route. So if you make it make sense in your brain, you'll come off more authentic. The person who got a sale 8 miles down the road, they're going on the same route. It's the same concept. I'm taking care of your neighbor, that's why I can do it cheap. You're like making yourself believe what you're saying because that is the truth. That person 8 miles down the road is scheduling on the same route that you're giving them the discount for, so you can name drop them. That makes sense?
Two things. One, with the no soliciting, I just want to touch on it since we're all the way past it now. When you're going goes, if you see the sign, acknowledge it. Don't lie. People will know and tell that you're BSing them, and it'll just piss them off even more. Like, you just acknowledge it. It makes you look better than all the other guys that do knock that door and play up. But going to like the actual question, you're closing a sale. You've got all their information, you're building the rapport. How are you solidifying that sale so they're being more of a bought-in customer, they're staying long term? And then also referrals.
Yeah, solidifying is always active listening, right? Throughout the pitch, throughout the time signing them up, obviously they have voiced to you their problems, where they might have seen bugs, etc. And actively listening, so like when you get to the end of the pitch, you know, there is a notes section, right, where you can leave notes. We can tailor the service to every customer, right? Every house is different, every person has different like wants and needs. So you can add to the notes to say, you know, hey, this person's main problem is ants by this specific bush, right? Little stuff like that at the end of the sale, like, hey, I remember you said you had this and this over here, right? I just want to make sure I notate that for you so the technician knows exactly where to get those. They're going to feel just like this guy listened to me and he's really going the extra mile to make sure I'm taken care of. right? And then one, going over the contract with them, really making sure that they fully understand everything. That is the most important when it comes to solidifying your sale, right? You want to make sure at the end they 100% understand everything. They understand how long it's for, what they're going to be, getting taken care of, and then really going the extra mile to notate the account for them. Hey, is there anything else that I can do for you today before I head out? I really want to make sure everything's taken care of. Just a reminder, I got you set up for this time on this day, right? And it's just going to make sure that they're taken care of. And then I always kind of end it with, hey, if you happen to know anyone else in the neighborhood or even friends and family within the city, I'd love to earn their business too. Do you happen to know anyone? I may even throw in like a referral kind of discount or something. And that always helps, because if they feel like you took care of them and they do know someone that may have had similar problems, they're going to send you to them, right? And that's definitely a good way to get some extra sales. Does that answer?
Yeah, you'll start maybe like 5, 6, 7, even like $1,000 extra dollars.
Ethan, I think you had a question?
And then that'll be our last question. Sorry, we've got to move on to the next thing on the agenda.
You guys have thrown the term like qualifying around a lot, so just kind of like describing like what is qualifying, why you do it, when you're doing it, before, during the sale.
Me personally, I don't spend time with people that don't want to spend time with me, okay? So if I knock on a door and someone is being like absurdly rude, whatever, I may kind of just do a little one-liner and be like, hey, look, I just wanted to check in on you because I know the neighbors were having X problem. If they are going to continue to just be super aggressive, I'm leaving. I am not wasting my time with people that do not want to spend time with me. And that's my version of qualifying, right? And another version of that is understanding like qualifying a house. If you see some rundown house, 3 of the windows are busted out, and can they, in my mind, does this house look like they can actually afford something that's $50 a month, right? I'm not going to waste my time with a house that they obviously do not have $50 a month to spare to do something like that. So I'm qualifying that way. I'm not going to knock on a house that obviously is not going to buy pest control. And I'm also not going to talk to people that don't want to talk with me. There is a way of kind of trying to diffuse initially. Like, hey man, I just want to see if I could help you out, but since I was already over here. And then if they are just like, F you, whatever, I'm leaving, right? I'm not going to continue to push that sale. I am marking off the list. I'm going and I'm going to go talk to someone that actually wants to talk to me, that actually needs the service.
Another thing, last thing, and then we can go and be done. I
love it. I love all the questions.
If I get the same objection really quickly twice, I'm like, boom, unqualified. Like if I get through my intro and I'm selling super cheap and like I'm not interested, I push past it like it's a smoke screen. I get to the end and like, dude, like no, I'm not interested. Okay, deuces.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Can I say one thing on this? Sorry. I remember Maverick was following my first. I don't know if you remember this. I think it was Maverick was following me. When you are a rookie, you don't know what is qualified. So when you go out, you have to try. You have to try everybody. You have to push through everything. You will start to figure out the people who buy and the people who don't buy, but you do not know. And that actually sets you guys up to make more sales. Because the more experience you have, sometimes you cut people off that would have bought. And I remember my first sale that I got, no, it was you who was following me. It was a guy that was like, I do it myself, not interested, gave me like all the objections in the book, and I definitely signed him up. And he wanted to sign up, and that was like, I think it was you, was like, I wouldn't have even like, I would have thought he was unqualified. So that's just an example that like, if you're a rookie, you have to learn what qualified and unqualified is with your experience. So that'll come with time.
Yeah.
It can't be like, oh, I didn't get that sale because he was unqualified, right? Was he really unqualified, right? So you just have to keep that in mind.
As rookies, you'll get in your head and be like, well, he was rude to me initially, so he was unqualified, right? Which isn't true, right? And that's something you definitely want to avoid. As rookies, you definitely want to just be getting the habit of pushing through everything and getting the information in front of as many people as possible.